Hey, Lauren, it's Brennan from the Adventurous Nurse blog. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing great, thank you. Thanks for taking the time this morning to speak with me.
Absolutely. It's my pleasure.
So why don't you first tell me about how long you've been doing yoga and how long you've been a fitness coach?
So I completed my first 200 hours of yoga teacher training in 2013, and I also went to India in 2015 for an additional 300 hours of training. So I'm considered what's called a 500-hour registered yoga teacher within the Yoga Alliance community. And after the completion of my first yoga training, I immediately focused on using the skills I learned through my business degree to grow an in-home private yoga business. And I wanted that business to focus on teaching yoga one-on-one. That way, it enabled people to be taught the proper alignment and fundamental foundation of what makes a proper yoga pose. And also the neat thing about that was it helped to bring people onto their yoga mat that may not have ever tried yoga for the fact that they were too nervous to walk into a studio space. So by me coming to them and being one-on-one in an intimate setting, it really helped to ease people's nerves in trying yoga for the first time. And after working with those clients for a bit, I quickly realized that the positive shifts that were taking place for them on their yoga mat were also trickling over into their day-to-day living. That's what was expressed to me, and I wanted to give them resources to take that shift deeper, to take those benefits deeper, and that inspired me to create my virtual business, my virtual yoga coaching business that gives people the tools and techniques to help counterbalance the challenges that life presents to us when we're off of the yoga mat.
Well, I think that's incredible. And so I've noticed that with your program, you focused your target clientele on medical professionals such as nurses and physicians. Can you tell me why that's such an important population to reach out to?
So when I first started my business, it quickly became apparent to me that my clientele was dominated by people within the medical field, and it allowed me to get an inside look to the demand of what is truly taking place within the healthcare industry and what's expected of all of you within that field. So that made me want to start specializing in an approach for yoga for medical professionals specifically, to give them the tools that they need to be able to show up fully to their careers.
And so being in the medical professional, I know how important it is to focus both on physical and mental health and even emotional health. Can you speak to perhaps what your yoga and fitness program does to address those three as a relationship together?
Yeah, so that's exactly right. There's physical, mental, and emotional aspects for the job, and I like to compare all of those parts of ourselves to a rechargeable battery. So every single morning when we wake up, there's a finite charge that can be used for our day, and every time we meet the demands of our life, especially jobs and our careers, then that battery's charge is expended. So if someone like a nurse or physician is never giving themselves the time to heal and recharge their battery, then eventually it's going to be exploited to the point of being unusable. So this is why so many medical professionals are experiencing that burnout, and sadly, sometimes really early on within their careers. So that burnout can easily lead to residual consequences as well on that emotional and mental level that you mentioned. So things like chronic anxiety, depression, fatigue, insomnia, and other things. And those in themselves are very draining for our finite energy. So to add that on top of the demand of what it takes for a medical professional within their career to be effective and successful, it's very easy to see why burnout is so ubiquitous among medical professionals. So that's the beautiful thing about yoga is it really caters to the physical, of course, but it goes beyond into that mindset and into making powerful shifts on an emotional level.
You speak to the importance of self-care. So what you had just told me really kind of resonated with the importance of almost the importance that we need to take care of ourselves before we're able to take care of other parts of our lives, whether it's our relationships, our work life. Can you speak to the importance of investing in yourself before you're able to invest into other parts of your life?
Absolutely. The thought that occurs to me immediately is what I learned very early on in my yoga teacher training is that I am not able to give to others what I cannot give to myself, what I do not have for myself. So I think it is of the utmost importance for medical professionals to ensure that they are catering to their needs first, to your needs first, and whatever that is that's going to allow you to show up fully for your patients, and not only your patients, but your family, your friends, your loved ones, and just your life overall.
So for any medical professionals who are curious about your programming, what kind of services are you able to offer to the medical community?
So as a yoga coach, I first help my clients figure out what the highest quality version of themselves looks like. And then I create a structured roadmap to bring my clients through the process of becoming that targeted, idealized version of themselves. And the tools that I will give you as a client emphasize the use of fitness and flexibility through yoga for physical health, and also guided meditation, breath work, and various writing techniques for your mindset. And this is all facilitated by regular phone calls and communication between you and me to create accountability and consistency. And in addition to that, I also provide customized materials and resources for each client to utilize during and after the program.
So the reality of what we're experiencing right now in 2020 is that we're well into a COVID-19 pandemic with no end in sight. We're dealing with a disease that we know so little about. Is it possible for people across the United States and even the world to virtually reach out to you?
Yes. So that was the wonderful thing of when I transitioned from my in-home business model to my virtual yoga coaching business model is as long as my client has access to a computer and a phone, then I am able to work with them and create the program around what they need and guarantee that they will be successful as long as they do the work.
And so for people that are looking to join your program, is it designed for people who are already feeling stress or perhaps already burnt out, or are you really trying to target a demographic to prevent that burnout and be very proactive with their physical, emotional, and mental health?
Ideally, we could do a prevention over a cure. However, yoga is going to be able to meet either. So if you're listening right now and you're someone who's already in the midst of that sensation of burnout and the different emotions that accompany that feeling of burnout, whether that be anxiety, fatigue, insomnia, just chronic stress, maybe even showing up in physical pain within your body, then I'm here for you and my program is for you. If you're someone that is on the precipice of burnout or maybe foreseeing that the demands of your career is leading you towards burnout, then absolutely, please, find those solutions and those tools that is going to prevent that full-on burnout from happening, and that's also going to be a way to be successful. So either or.
So I really love that your program is focused on eliminating exhaustion and preventing stress. My question for you is, what medical professionals are you seeing that are experiencing burnouts the most? Is it people that are working in the ICU? Is it people that are working in emerge, shift work, perhaps people that have children, a little bit busier work-life balance? What do you see?
For me, everyone is, of course, different, but the thing that interconnects all of my clients is that burnout or that energy depletion, that sensation of exhaustion, that increased stress. So, of course, life's demands are going to vary from person to person. And, for example, with medical professionals, someone who works night shifts or within a unit that demands a higher intensity of presence is going to have that battery charge that I referred to earlier depleted quicker than someone else. But overall, burnout is something to be conscious of for any and all medical professionals, even those within a private practice, even those that may not have children at home or a large family of any sort that they're catering to outside of their work. And I just feel that the generalization of being a medical professional is giving oneself to others who are in need of help. So that fact in itself is going to create the perfect storm for burnout to easily occur.
So I know for myself in the past, whenever I've started a new program, sometimes I've just needed a little bit of motivation to get going. What's the biggest obstacle that you experience for people who are just having a tough time getting started with a program like this? What would you recommend to finally start something that could perhaps empower them and give them the tools that they need to get in full control of their emotional, physical, and mental health moving forward in both their personal life but also their work life?
What it comes down to that I have seen to be the most effective is finding someone who is invested in supporting you and also keeping you accountable. I see time and time again people who are really amped up and super motivated to try something new, fitness or non-fitness related, and inevitably, if there's no support or accountability, life happens, and that motivation to be consistent wanes over time. And eventually that exciting and new venture becomes just a memory. And in getting accountability from someone who wants to see you succeed, you have to commit to something outside of yourself. And I find that commitment creates the momentum that most of us need to create breakthroughs, especially when attempting something that is new or unfamiliar.
So as you know, people in the medical profession don't typically all work a perfect 9-to-5 Monday through Friday schedule. A lot of people are working weekends, evening shifts, night shifts. How flexible is the programming that you're able to offer?
My utmost priority is designing my program to create a consistent yoga practice for my clients. And at the very beginning of enrolling within my coaching program, we sit down together, we take a look at your schedule, and we look for those spaces where yoga and the techniques and the methods and the mindset work is going to make sense to be able to do on a regular and consistent basis. So I'm used to working around people's careers, and that is at the forefront of my mind when it comes to my business model, is ensuring that I am catering to people's unique schedules to make yoga a part of their regular routine.
And so people that are curious about your program, how many days a week do they need to commit? Is there a perfect number of sessions a week that you like to have with your clients?
So it doesn't necessarily come down to number of sessions or interactions per week. It's more so looking at longevity over the life of the program. So at this point in time, the programs range from 6 to 12 weeks. I've found that this time frame seems to be the most effective for my clients to make those changes that they learn with me, and then also make those changes a part of their regular lives and daily routines, even when they come to the end of their program. So it's all going to be customized off of what my client's goals are, and also what their schedule is, and ensuring that we're still creating consistency and success within the program.
For anyone that's interested in taking part of your program, what's the best way that they can reach out to you?
So the best way to reach out to me is through email, phone, or my Instagram page. And the best first step is to book your Clarity Consult call. And that's going to clarify if my program can properly support you. And that will be done by reaching out to me through email, Lauren, LAUREN, at getzenwithlauren.com. My phone number, 904-274-3474, and I also respond to text messages and personally monitor both my email and my phone number. And then my Instagram page for my yoga coaching business is Get Zen with Lauren, GETZENWITH, Lauren.
Lauren, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me today. I hope that for people that are curious, they are able to take something out of it and be able to empower themselves moving forward. So thanks again, and I really appreciate your time and everything that you do for the medical professionals.
Absolutely, and same to you, Brennan, and creating your blog and being an advocate for the medical community, specifically nurses. I think it's an amazing thing what you're doing as well, and providing that one-stop shop and resource of a lot of valuable information that's going to positively impact and serve our medical community.